Welcome to Open Access Week at Vancouver Island University. You have joined a global event with hundreds of institutions around the world participating in spreading the good word of open access in education. But what is Open Access Week really all about? It's about promoting the free, immediate online access to the results of scholarly research and the right to use and reuse those results as we need. It has the power to transform the way research and scientific inquiry are conducted, and it has direct and widespread implications for academia, medicine, science, industry, and for society as a whole. Open Access Week aims to celebrate the freely accessible access of all the great work and research we do at universities. First, let's talk about the scope of openness. It's quite broad. We can talk about open scholarship, open access publishing, open licensing, open educational practices, open educational resources, open source software, open data, open research, open science, the open web, and open knowledge. It can all be a little overwhelming. In this presentation, we'll just focus on 5 of these opens. I'll speak about open licensing, open educational resources, and open source software. Dana will speak about open research, and Kathleen will speak about open data. First, let's start off with a basic principle. What happens when you create and share something on the internet? Even not on the internet, what happens when you create and share something? In fact, your work is automatically protected under copyright law, which means that you have the explicit rights to reproduce that work. Now, if you put it online, it becomes instantly shareable and accessible. Unfortunately, that does not necessarily mean that it's openly licensed for reuse by others who find it on the web. Online resources do not equal openly licensed resources. So what we find with the web is that copyright actually cancels the possibilities of digital media in the internet. The internet enables the distribution of ideas, the sharing of media and ideas as well, and copyright forbids these from proliferating around the web and being used and made useful by others. So what can we do to alleviate this conundrum? I'm going to introduce alternative copyright licensing as one way of going around this conundrum. Previously, we had copyright in the far left and the public domain in the far right. You could either put your work in the public domain and disassociate yourself from it entirely, or retain full copyright. We now have a tool called Creative Commons, which allows us to operate within the space between full copyright and public domain. Creative Commons gives us a range of licenses to work with when sharing our work, to let others know what they can and cannot do with it. The most accommodating licenses on the right ask only for attribution. And as you move towards the left, things become more restrictive. The share alike clause ensures that if someone does use your work, they also share it as you have. The no derivatives clause ensures that the work that you've produced is not changed for any reason, and it's kept in its original state. And then you can start to combine, or rather we'll speak about non-commercial as well. Non-commercial indicates that people can use your work, but they cannot commercially gain from it. They cannot sell it. And then we can start to combine these different clauses: non-commercial, share alike, non-commercial, no derivatives. So it gives us a much more flexible space to operate between copyright and public domain. There's lots of Creative Commons work available on the internet now. This is just one measure of the amount of works. It's by no means exhaustive. It's very hard to capture all of the resources which are on the internet under these licenses. We're looking at least 500 million different types of media and resources available now under Creative Commons license, and that was as of early last year. And what happens when you license your content openly? It becomes more shareable. People know exactly what they can do with it and how they might make use of it. Copyright is made explicit through the Creative Commons license. You find that there's new ways of describing content and looking for it. For example, people can look for just content that's licensed under Creative Commons and ready for reuse. And there's new ways of tracking usage online, of course. And these resources now become discoverable by educators who know what they can and cannot do with them. Now, the concept of open educational resources are resources found online which are for educational use. These could be curriculum, mixed media, materials, videos, audio, PowerPoint presentations, reading lists, a variety of different forms of educational media. They're available online, so they're discoverable because they've been described in some way, or you can search within the text of the media. And they're openly licensed. Very important that these materials are licensed under Creative Commons so that people know exactly what they can do with them when they find them, and educators can share between themselves. And because they're licensed under Creative Commons, they can be legally used by anyone to repurpose, improve, or redistribute. Some examples of open educational resources which you may be familiar with. The first very popular one was the MIT OpenCourseWare project. MIT released a large selection of their educational materials on their website under an open Creative Commons license. Another type of media that could be thought of as an open educational resource is the Khan Academy. Salman Khan has created a number of short instructional videos which can be accessed and used by anyone. Beyond just the access and use, Khan Academy allows people to download these videos and to adapt them. So I've seen examples where people use the Khan Academy videos to translate into other languages or to add subtitles to. So the possibilities are really endless because of the open license. Wikipedia is a good example of an open educational resource that some people don't immediately think of, but an incredible resource full of information as well as media. It's a great source to find images for PowerPoint presentations because the images are linked to articles and keywords. They're often very easy to locate resources within here. And there's, I believe, hundreds of thousands of images that can be used, and they're all available under the Creative Commons license again. A good place to start if you're looking for resources is the OER Commons. OER Commons searches across a number of repositories around the world. So you can search for specific types of resources and then look at different available resources from different institutions. You can find anything here from open textbooks to video to curriculum. And they also cover resources for both K-12 and higher education. So I always recommend it as a good place to start for people getting into open educational resources to see what's out there and available under Creative Commons licenses. If you're just looking for media, you can use the Comfite image search tool, which is available online. Also, you can use Flickr. Flickr also allows you to search for only Creative Commons images. Comfite is just I find a bit more of a snazzy interface to the search. And these images on Comfite are all actually in Flickr, so it would link you to the Flickr page where you would get access to the image. And you can provide the criteria for Creative Commons to ensure that all the images according to your query are available for reuse. And Creative Commons also has their own search tool on their website, which allows you to search across repositories for specific types of media. There's a large body of audio which is available under Creative Commons, so you can get actual songs which have been licensed for reuse, which you can remix and use in video projects. YouTube also now has a Creative Commons licensing option, so you'll find that you can search for videos in YouTube which are available for download, reuse, remix. And then clips and Flickr is available here as well. So a lot of resources can be accessed from this search query as well. Just a little bit about free and open source software. My understanding, or my personal opinion, is that there's always an alternative to commercial software for in the open source software realm. Here's just a few examples. WordPress is probably one of the most popular content management systems on the internet, most probably hundreds of thousands of sites on the internet actually use it. And it's freely available for download, and you can adapt the code if you want. And that's how it became so sophisticated, in fact, is that the community developed the software together based on the needs of users. And that's why it's such a powerful tool. Audacity can be used for recording audio or for working with audio, for cutting and editing and exporting to different file types. That's an alternative to Adobe Audition or Wavelab. For students or educators who don't have access to the Microsoft Office suite, OpenOffice is a free and open source software package which does basically exactly what the MS Office suite does. There's a tool for drafting documents which resembles Microsoft Word. There's a tool very similar to Excel, PowerPoint, Access, Visio, and there's a number of others which are included, which I haven't had a good chance to look at. So it's quite a comprehensive office productivity package. For those working with images and graphics, the GIMP software package is an open source, immediately downloadable software that you can use instead of Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, which are very expensive. And it's quite sophisticated and has quite a large user base. Notepad++, very simple program, but good for people working with code, XML, or other types of machine languages. It's an alternative to MS Notepad or Dreamweaver, and it's quite a little powerful little tool for people who work with web files and different types of code. In fact, you can run your entire operating system on open source software. If you haven't heard of Ubuntu and Linux, these are alternatives to MS Windows or the Apple operating system, which are freely available to download and install on your computer. And the VLC Media Player also deserves a mention. It's an alternative to Microsoft Media Player, plays a variety of file types and has some other neat features that have been developed by the community of open source software developers. And this is just a few of the many open source software options available as alternatives to commercial software, and all developed by communities of users who spent their time developing the software for free in most cases, and bringing it to a level of sophistication that it is now. Another one for academia is open textbooks, and these are getting a lot of press these days as an alternative to publisher printed commercial textbooks. There's quite a range of open textbook sites available on the internet, and I haven't gone and mentioned them all. Rather, I've mentioned this project out of the University of Minnesota, where they've attempted to capture the best open textbooks that they have found and provide links to all of them in one place. So this is a library of open textbooks from a variety of sources, some directly from institutions, some from companies like Flat World Knowledge, who offer open textbooks and printed textbooks for a fee. That's their business model. So there's some quite a range of textbooks in a variety of subjects available on this site, which you can use as alternatives for your class if you want. Rather than having your class all buy the expensive textbook, you may want to look at an open textbook as an option for running the class. And just last week, here it is, October 25th, 2012, British Columbia has announced a very ambitious open textbook project where institutions throughout the province are going to collaboratively create 40 of the most popular post-secondary course textbooks together, all free for use, an open educational resource for institutions to access. And I don't have very many details about the platform or how this will actually look, but it's a very ambitious announcement and really forward-thinking by the BC government in terms of making this a priority to help reduce costs for our students and collaboratively develop these textbooks based on the needs of the province. So I'm really excited about this, and this is just hot off the press last week. And Cable Green, who's I believe the director of Creative Commons, said BC is leveraging 21st century technologies and licensing to ensure its citizens have affordable access to high quality post-secondary textbooks. Open licensing on publicly funded content ensures the greatest impact for the public dollar. So we're really looking forward to this project and maybe even contributing to the development of the textbooks and getting some of our academics involved in this exercise. So something to watch. And that's it. I wanted to make sure you could access this presentation. I'll provide a link in the comments, but all the links to the resources and things that have been mentioned are built into the presentation, so you can access this the presentation itself on SlideShare and get linked to those resources. So leave it to my colleagues to take us through open data and open research. Thanks.